Hey everybody, this is Rydo, and we're back to another live stream. No, not live stream, recording of the solo single player experience of Shadowverse. We've done all of the different characters' stories here for episode 10, all four of them, and really didn't go very far as other than just to kind of give us some backstory. So we now know, well, actually, we barely even know any backstory about Bunny and Baron other than how they met and that they were, I guess, poor kids on the street, which isn't too much difference from Miser and Selena's poor kids on the street. The only real difference here, I think, would be that you might make the argument that Miser and Selena went on a more righteous path in life to be good guys, where Bunny and Baron went on a more unrighteous path of life to be a Bonnie and Clyde type. Although, frankly, it doesn't really matter because Miser and Selena are both working for the Titan Victor, and he's fairly evil in my book also. And Ilganu has just been convinced to also take on Ision Drog in the same way that every other character has been convinced to take on Isil Drog. So, it almost feels like what could happen here in this conclusion, which very possibly will be still in Japanese too, which fingers crossed it isn't, but I don't see any reason why it wouldn't be. Uh, it kind of feels like maybe all five of these main characters will just fight the Titan Isilindrog and, or Icy as I'm going to call him from going forward, and maybe there will be an episode 12 where they take on Not Not, and an episode 12 and 13 where maybe they take on Not Not, and then a episode 14 and 15 where they take on Victor. And that would just drag things out way too much. And I really don't want to see that happen. So I would just like to see this entire story happen. I'd like it to be in English, and I'd like this to take overall less than 2 hours to get through this story. And then I am done with Shadowverse's single player story stuff for at least 6 months to a year. Arguably, maybe I'll even make the decision never to come back to it because it's certainly not very substantive. And I can certainly play the challenges, of which there really are only 3 or 4 challenges of actual gameplay anyways when these expansions come out. I could play them and skip the story and I would just be as satisfied. But I guess let's go. So, download the voice and we'll see if this is Japanese. I suspect. Yep. In this beginning, the world was not but a wasteland, barren and boundless. This must be slightly different dialogue than before, otherwise there's no reason why this wouldn't be in English. There were no forms to pace its breath, no breath to stir it. All that moved was a single stone that tumbled in the void. It's really weird that we get this origin story for this world, because we kind of didn't get those for any of the other worlds. But it's not really playing a big role until some surprise gets revealed, and it does play a big role. The first being to cuppeth that stone in their hands, bestowing upon it the warmth of life, was hailed by mortals as a god. But the life bequeathed by the deity was frail. Thus, in its infinite compassion, it split into 3 demigods to standeth watch over creation. The first overflowed with might. Her vigor aroused strength in the limbs of mortals and set the world in motion. She presided over a domain with the aspect of force. That's a weird way to try and legitimize and redcon who Not Not is, because she is absolutely just a psychopath who uses force to get everything she wants and kills people very flippantly. But yeah, this origin story really does feel like it's just the Titans trying to make themselves into demigods. The second wished for peace. His calm evoked reason in the minds of mortals and brought the world balance. He presided over his domain with the aspect of order. His calm evoked reason is a misnomer, certainly, though, because we know that it is Victor that is single-handedly sending out Selena to assassinate criminals. The third hungered for fortune. His appetency, that's a weird word, kindled ambition in the hearts of mortals and bound the world together. Yeah, I would just call Victor greedy. Sigh, well, ain't Rival just a topsy-turvy mess? We also have the problem here where Rival is pretty much being described as a world, universe, as it were, planet, but it has also been described as just a city. So you have kind of a weird situation where this entire world, this entire universe, may just be a city, which then begs the question as to why they built trains in the first place, if it literally only goes from one location to another, one part of the city to another. Used to be folks understood the natural order of things, as dogs instinctively grovel at the feet of their masters. The rabbit knew to kneel at the feet of a titan. We also kind of know that there's something wrong with Icy here, and he's doing some kind of ritual, probably to save himself. But don't you see what's wrong with the current picture? Flawless. Interesting, he's talking directly to the fortune teller lady. I suppose it's the livestock. It's that the livestock are hoping to run the ranch, as you would say. Interesting that Flawless may very well be working with the Titans also. Maybe she was just encouraging the Titans to, encouraging the main characters to go into rebellion so then they could be slaughtered. A travesty. In the past, all it took was a word and the whole city would come to heel. But now, I have rats nibbling at my cupboard and pups nipping at my ankles. I don't know if we really need two analogies there. It is starting to sorely test my patience. But I thought you loved nothing more than to break spirited creatures. That I won't deny. You're a unique character, Isondrig. I suspect you'll entertain me where so many others could not. Now we've seen, unless I've completely misunderstood the story, we've seen more of a history where the Titans that are in existence now are not the same Titans that were originally created, and that it was more a title or magical power passed down either through bloodlines or through a kind of monarchy. You do well not to treat me as one of your playthings. My word, I'd hoped that temper of yours would have improved with age. Yep, it kind of does feel like she very well is just an agent of Nova or another keeper. And it's kind of crazy that they'd introduce even another keeper. But a more active keeper would be fairly appreciated, instead of the keepers always being these demigods that are hiding in the past, hiding in the shadow, and having only their puppets attack the main characters. I warn you, you're acting too familiar. It rankles me when new acquaintances fail to maintain proper decorum. But I've known you for a very long time, Sugar. Just not on this plane. It might also be interesting if it turns out all the Titans are keepers. Or keepers to be. Now, I can overlook your irksome disposition, but mark my words, interfere with my plans, and that will be grounds for your extermination. Goodness, are such violent threats necessary? I wouldn't dream of meddling. Your words inspire little confidence. And your words break my heart, even after everything I've done for you. It wasn't easy, you know, diverting the flow of life and death. Why, I dare say I'm the only one who could have done it. You're indeed. And that's precisely why I don't trust you. I am in need of a great deal of power, and you're the only source of that power that puts you in a unique position to extract a heavy price, and folks don't fancy a monopoly for good reason. I thought this was going to be a much shorter prologue chapter, but it's going on fairly long. Well, I promise you, I would never take more than my due. I despise senseless suffering, after all. But surely a well-heeled man like you knows the hottest flame produces the purest gold. Sigh, you speak with a forked tongue. That mistrust is misguided, I see. Might I remind you that I am guardian of this world, though I will admit I've been more spectator than actor. But I suppose it's high time I made my debut. How could I not with this glimmering cast of characters? Never could stand her. At least she won't erase me. Maybe. Lord, the troops are assembled and ready for battle. Very good. And the seal preparations? Running smooth as clockwork. We've already unleashed Zessel, Winchi. We'll just be calling him Zessel. They introduced him in a couple of the stories, but I've kind of forgotten he existed. Good, I give you permission to release his full strain, if the situation calls for it. Dismissed. Yes, sir. And then you have the cough cough. Fine, you miserable herd. Run free while you still can. But never forget, y'all were born and bred on my land. I granted you life, and when I so please, I can take it back. As a very long prologue. In the beginning, this world was not but a wasteland, barren and boundless. This is a new image and depiction of Rivelle, and you have this like giant gates here, and then you have a train that must go somewhere, but we really don't know where. It feels like the train goes from the rich part of town to the poor part of town, but it also kind of makes it feel like maybe we're just looking at the rich part of town here, and there's a poor part of town just to the right over there. Like, but why do you need a gate if you're literally only one city? And what are these over here? Just little prairie houses and farms outside of the city? Maybe that is it. But avarice has changed want to cruelty, dust to gunpowder. The fires kindled in the hearts of mortals blaze ever hotter, threatening to return creation unto nothingness. Two thieves seek stature immeasurable. Upon wings of ambition they soar towards the heavens. Perchance they shall reach the Titans or crumble into history ere long. And here we have Bunny and Baron, and yeah, I still like the way Bunny is depicted and drawn. She has, I guess, little bunny ears in her hair, but she's not given anywhere as much backstory as I would have liked. And in the background, we see the rich part of town. Like, one sinner seeketh redemption divine under the banner of justice. He guideth the town, perchance he shall earn clemency or be met with execution swift. Here we have Miser, who's the sheriff deputy who works for Vincent, who accidentally shot a woman who had 2 kids, and so he feels guilty about killing her when she basically jumped in front of the bullet. And he took the 2 kids to Selena and the church to be raised, and he helps out as best as he can. He's also the childhood friend of Selena, who is the nun, despite her appearance nun slash ninja assassin for the church that works secretly for Victor also. And in her side jobs, she cooks and takes care of the kids. One maiden seeketh self-determination with flames of purity. She'll pass judgment. Perchance she'll commandeer fate or be cursed for hubris hereafter. These are big, big words. But also, I would say we are not getting the frontier jargon, and I kind of appreciate that, because if you're going to throw in such big words and frontier Western jargon, that would be way too much, and they were already too much as far as the Western jargon. One wanderer seeketh the lost once lost, with steps uncertain. She journeys toward hearth and home. I think that's hearth is how you spell it. Pronounce it. Perchance she shall find the light of purpose, or fade before a void anon. Again, they're using perchance 2 or 3 times too often. One hero seeketh a future radiant, with arrows true. She salvageth worlds. Perchance she shall restore hope upon creation, or fall to despair forevermore. It would be very interesting if Orisa, who's played very little role in this story and is basically only the connecting material, it would be funny if she showed up and went through the story and then just died at the end of it. And that would be a great way for them to get rid of Orisa, which then fairly disconnects you a little bit, at least, from the main first 2 episodes, which then makes it less important to really save Serenity or defeat Serenity, who stole the body of Orisa's friend. But I doubt that's what's gonna happen, because that's too complicated a story for this game. Mortal lives are propelled by choice. Thus choice is what tunneleth the axis of worlds. Forfeit volition, and there can be but one outcome. All things shall grind to a halt. So yeah, here's Nexus, and she's in the body of Orisa's friend. I guess the other thought here is that this could be the defeat of Nexus in some way, and then there is only going to be Nerva as the bad guy going forward, and that would, I suppose, be fine too. I am Nexus of Serenity. This would be funny if she was the narrator the whole time. She may very well have been. I can't really tell through the Japanese voices. And it would be kind of funny if Nexus of Serenity shows up and then starts trying to put everybody to sleep. What would be the point of doing all of that other than to perhaps counter the playbook of Nerva, who tries to put everybody at war, fighting each other? Shelter the world. I bid you wait till the advent of silence unbroken. Oops, sorry. There, whatever. Move on to the next chapter. Yeah, it's not going to be a particularly great ending if Nexus shows up and she turns out to be the big bad guy. But she's got to show up at some point, and they've got to wrap this whole story. So we get to use this animation again. Let's talk tactics, says Baron. Tactics, we're going to a gunfight or a chess tournament. We can't blast our way through. Not this time. That's how we've always done it. You can definitely tell now in the Japanese voice of Bunny that she is being voiced as a very high energy, probably young character. Bunny matching her personality a lot more than the way the English spoke. Baron, you look jumpier than a long-tailed cat in a room full of rocking chairs. What's wrong? Ain't you raring to catch the king toad or what? He ain't like other targets we need to prepare. We're back to the jargon now. He'll croak once we pump him full of lead, just like anybody else. But our job is more than Icy's death here. We need to cover our bases. First, we move into the Golden Hills, do some hit and runs, buy us some time. If Icy were to bring out his troops in full force, he'd crush Rival in a heartbeat. So we'll whittle away at them till he ain't got nothing to mobilize. Still sounds like a shootout to me. Won't work if we're random about it. But if we apply force in the right place, well, even the smallest tremor can turn into an earth-shattering quake. Then let's get to quaking already. Everybody's itching to rain fire and brimstone down on Icy, especially after that speech of yours. Well, win or lose, this battle will spell the end of Rival as we know it. Folks understand that. Moment the first shot is fired, we plunge toward a full future uncertain as death. Best to give the people time to feel a little bit of peace before the gravity of the situation weighs all of us down. Even though they were screaming bloody murder before, huh? You all bark and no bite now? The cursed queen have them baring their fangs. The cursed queen will have them baring their fangs soon enough. Anyway, we've got bigger fish to fry. Zessel seems he's still alive and kicking. Ugh, but I put so many holes in him, there was hardly nothing left to shoot. Wasn't really him you were shooting. He infects folks and takes control of their bodies. Long as there's life in Rival, that man's is immortal. But every snake has a soft underbelly, and we're gonna find his. Yeah, we definitely are in the danger in which they spend 3 or 4 chapters just trying to figure out how to defeat Zessel, who some of the characters didn't even fight in the previous episode. Roger that. So first things first, raise hell for the rich and put Zessel down. You got it. That'll pave the way for Not-Not's invasion of the Golden Hills. The problem with the animation scene like this, while it is kind of a nice animation, is that it gets looped too much, and then you've got just car noise playing over and over again for several minutes. Once she moves, all of Rival will be in chaos. Oh, and that's when we sneak into Icy. Sneak up on Icy. Yeah, but we won't kill him on the spot. It needs to be a public execution. Listen, we have to make his crimes clear and turn the people against him. With the majority on our side, we're liberators. With them on the other side, we're murderers. Whatever you say, Hoss. Frankly, I couldn't give a damn what folks call us. More concerned with what they feed us. Got a huge hankering for some prime rib right now. Huh. You can expect some fine dining once all of this is over. I don't care for nothing fancy. Spurredon's good enough for us, ain't it? Sure is. All this talk about food is getting me hungry. We there yet? I wouldn't be surprised if the bar Spurred On, which did get mentioned, I think in pretty much every story, gets destroyed. But if the entire city is destroyed, I guess that would be fairly pointless. Almost. Well, let's finish this job lickety-split. Ain't gonna recite that poem? Nah, don't feel like it. That's rare. I'm glad she skips the poem. Gotta save it for the big finale. So, if they really wanted to remind you of the poem she says, they would have had it recited at that point. And I don't think there is anything surprising in the poem she's going to say that's going to change our perception or understanding of the story up until this point. Alright, Miser, get them gears turning. Don't think Icy's let me come skipping into his mansion with the whole city losing its marbles and all. Not to mention all these pleasant folk. Here we have random underlings fighting random underlings, apparently ready to sleep in a pine box. You're the ones with a death wish, causing a ruckus all over rival. Bull spit. Ice String owns rival. Get it through your thick skulls. Is that the high and mighty attitude that'll get you? It's that high and mighty attitude that'll get you killed, and you'll deserve it. Y'all gonna get everybody in this damn city killed if you keep it up. Oof, the citizens are more riled up than a room full of in-laws. At this rate, it's only take a single gunshot to spark a full-out firefight. There's been 2 gunshots already. You can't make this comment when you're so obsessed about writing in your story that characters shoot each other. You can't say one single gunshot will spark a full-out firefight when 2 shots have already been fired. It's already happened at that point. I have to tread real carefully in this crowd. Let's just keep going. Yo-ho, ladies. Now ain't you more jittery than a room full of bedbugs? The cursed queen. This can't be good. Better get my butt into high gear. Oh well, I can't say I blame you. The first time performing in such a grandiose show, right? I suppose you all would get stage fright. I should probably mention that the reason I censor some of these words is just because YouTube's algorithms seems not to care so much about text on the screen as somebody saying it out loud. And generally I just try to not go extreme. It probably wouldn't matter, and I could certainly read it out loud, but there is a slight difference also in using the word ass in Japanese versus using it in English, where it's more about how you say it in Japanese rather than if you say it. She has glowing green eyes. We'll have to keep an eye out to see if that's the case for the other 2 titans. Why don't I blow you all a little kiss for good luck? Thought that would liven you up. Remember, a successful entertainer gives the audience what they want, and I want your futures. My shots will sound the beat of the peon. Let me hear you all rise those screams in sweet, succulent song. This is a different animation than what we've seen not used before. She summoned guns that fired. Come on, my choir of rioters. Your conductor has pulled the trigger. Now let the heavens hear your roars. She was making boxes before and like crushing people in boxes. Rah. Get him. Damn, this is worse than I pictured. Suppose it is slightly interesting that Not is willing to fight on the front line instead of just standing back and watch people die. Heaven help me, there are going to be a town full of lives lost if this keeps up. I need to help folks evacuate. Oh boy, Vincent. Don't like it when Vincent don't like it when I take detours, but a true lawman protects the people, every last one of them. This is a weird positioning for the underling right on top of Selena, and he just stood up as if he was on the ground. So I didn't catch that. Come on, enunciate when you speak. So I guess maybe they're trying to imply that she's like holding his head up while he's fallen on the ground after she's shot him. But because they don't have that many poses or that many animations, it totally doesn't look like that. Lord Ice Ritual awoke wretches. Well, that's not super surprising. Did it now? But why would your boss rouse poor unsuspecting folks from their slumber? This may be taking place exactly at like 5 seconds after the end of Selena's story in the previous episode. Don't know. Then how about you tell me why he's branding rich folks like cows? No, nothing. Really? The less you reveal, the longer you're suffering. Mercy. Don't you serve gods? What, you believe in the compassion of heaven? You're as blind as the abyss. If you can't tell by now, the skies are cold and empty. Kill me. Kill me. Remember, she has the candy bullets that burn people from the inside out. And apparently it's very painful. There's still things I wanted to ask, but you, poor sinner, the flames have eaten you half away. Fine, here. Here's some humanity. Pew. First the ritual, now the seals. Bunch of mumbo jumbo if you ask me. Which, why would it be mumbo jumbo? She uses magic to turn candy into bullets. Sigh. Wonder how Miser's holding up. Rivals festering from the inside out. And it's going fast. Now we see the rich part of town, which this was a background that was not in existence for 3 out of the 4 main characters in the previous episode. Ilgano. She's half alive, half dead, magical creature that has seemingly decided to kill Icy for kind of bad reasons, but whatever. All of Dust Holmes revolting. They ain't planning to massacre the wealthy, are they? I'll be fine. I know I will. I'm marked with Icy's seal. No one dare to touch me so much as a hair on my head. Rabid gutter rats. They'll get what's coming to them. So the rich are happy to be branded with his seal. Seem Icy is the source of this carnage. I must find him. Hey you. This is a restricted area. You got any identification? Wait, you idiot. She's that. And kill him. Okay. Filthy blood stains the street of Rival. I must scour them clean and sound the death knell for all sinners, including me. Just keep going forward. We're here. And then I guess this is supposed to be the equivalent of the rich part of town's alleyway. Sure are. Man, I forgot how boring the Golden Hills was. Couldn't even part out of place without everybody hearing you. So, was she a rich girl? Very possibly. It's not underlings. Oh, have mercy. Have they come to kill us? It would be funny if it turned out she was like Icy's daughter. But I don't see any reason why they would make Bunny special like that. Now this is more like it. Has not sent her forces over already, but at this stage, a frontal assault shouldn't be possible. Yeah. You keep your face puckered up like that and it'll get stuck, Hoss. Come on, we've got some scale tipping to do. And she's pointing the gun because she has only a couple of poses. Bunny does really come off as kind of a child that doesn't even understand that killing is wrong and or permanent. And once again, I would just really love if they had not put on the giant coats. There's just no reason for the coats. Like, it's just too much. Same is true for him. Way too much with the coats. You're right, been a long journey, but finally things are going back to their proper place. Getting sentimental there, Bar? Sure, ends are coming. Yeah, 'cause we're bringing it. Couldn't have said it better myself. Let's get to it, bun. And see, they're giving each other little nicknames, which in Japanese you kind of wouldn't do that. Whatever. 2 megabytes. Seems like this is going to be a shorter chapter, thank goodness. This is Bunny and Baron. Today's the day we take Isil and Drake's head. Alright, put your hands up and no one gets out alive. Bunny and Baron. Could have guessed you crooks were behind this. Your savagery ends here. She called us savages, Bar. That's the way of the world. The thief in tatters is called a savage. The thief in jewels is called a king. King, I'll never bow to the likes of you. Suspect it's hard to bow when you're lying. I suspect it's hard to bow when you're lying 10 feet under. Why you? Aha, over here. Yeah. Now, is there any special reason why you would have them both shoot at the same time, other than to maybe save some time? Not really. And the perspective here is just awful. Like, this makes this gun look super long and super big. It's half of his face height, but you're at the time you're at the end here, and basically almost as big as this guy's head. Then we get more of the exact same underling characters. Don't let them get away. Surround them. Make them squeal. Yeah, it's a real party now. How are we ever gonna entertain them all, Bear? A few magic tricks will be enough for this crowd. Show 'em, bun. Me? Ain't hocus pocus your specialty? Give it a try. What's funny is she just said me in Japanese, like not the rest of that. All you've got to do is think like an apparition and apparate. Seems like this is the wrong time to be teaching Bunny how to do magic. Oh, now that's freaky right there. We did see that he had done a special spell on her a couple days earlier, and he probably gave her the power at that point. I shared my powers with you. Now you're a specter too. This is why you were doing all this crap this morning. And giving me a headache. Speaking of, it's like I'm seeing double and feeling quadruple. Think I'm gonna be sick. You best get used to it. See, him giving his powers to Bunny almost guarantees that Baron doesn't make it out alive. Aye aye, Captain. Took me about a week myself now. The show must go on. Then we jump to another scene to kill more carbon copy underlings. And it almost makes sense that they are carbon copy underlings for Icy, considering he does seem to have the ability probably to clone people. It makes less sense that the scoundrels and not Knotsmen are carbon copies, though. You monster. What? Could've sworn I got her. You can't kill a monster with shards of lead. Gah. I am a being who freely takes life away, even from those dear to her. Like, half of these sentences don't matter. So if you wish to keep yours, you'll talk. Where is Icy? The rights have only just started. If she interrupts them now, everything will go up in smoke. I have to buy some time. I didn't ask about these rights. Does everyone like speak out loud instead of think in her head, or can she just read their mind? Interesting. Why is my mouse not clicking forward? What? Tell me, where is he? No, speak of the devil, and ye shall know hell. Long live Lord Icy. He shoots himself, I guess? It's weird to not have that animated. Phew, sure was a lot of goons. Couldn't let a bullet rip without hitting at least 3 of them. They weren't more than fleas. The real problem is their rabid host, Zessel. I'm not sure Ilanganu has ever met Bunny and Baron. Are you either of you Isindrig? I'll teach you to sneak up on us. No, wait. Found him. I thought you could wander around unhindered, eh? I can't promise all of y'all one thing. This ain't gonna end how you pictured. I'm afraid of nothing has ended how I pictured it. You're responsible for all the corpses around here. Oh, you, question mark. She's got a presence about her. Alright, don't think she's human. But I'd join hands with damn near anybody if it meant freeing Rival. Her eyes are so empty. She's one of them Walking Dead critters? Question mark? I keep reading them like sentences. Freeing Rival. Are you after Icy? So she can just read people's minds, apparently. Funny, I was about to ask you the same question. I have come to purse Icy and his ilk. Seems we're 3 peas in the pod then. Don't say that. It's a disservice to yourselves. Huh? First time I ever heard that. I am a demon. To know me is a curse. Why? You fixing to start something? We ain't got much time, so hurry up and decide. We friends or foes? As long as Icy dies, it doesn't matter what we are. Ah, there you have it. The enemy, my enemy, is my pal. You ain't afraid of me? There a reason to be? Hey, when you're on our side, the scarier the better. You scratch our back, and we'll scratch yours. Fear don't have a thing to do with it. Whoa, specters and zombies, allies at last. I guess, in a funny way, that is what they wanted to do with this expansion, is potentially have ghosts and zombies, and they've gone about in a very unique way of having wretches be like zombies but different, because Shadowverse as a card game has had zombies for a long time, and specters here, I mean, they're not really ghosts, but they're using magic to hide their appearance, and so they're kind of like ghosts. Call me Ilganu. Pleased to meet you. And now I'm just trying to move as fast as possible, so I'm skipping through a lot of the Japanese dialogue. But also, a lot of this is just gunshot and shooting another underling. This was inherently the problem with Baron and Bunny's story in general, is that instead of making it an important fact that they were killing somebody, They just threw more cannon fodder in front of Bunny and Baron so they could shoot more people. Name's Baron, pleasure's mine. And I'm Bunny. These days just keep getting better and better. And I'm not sure if even by this point we've done even a single battle. So you have like 4 chapters, 5 chapters. Yeah, it's not till the 6th chapter of 11 that we actually even have a challenge. And then another 2 megabyte file means not going to be that much talk. Hey, y'all over okay? Miser boy, I wasn't expecting to see you grinning, your grinning mug. I guess part of the reason why the sound files are smaller is because they're just playing probably separate gunshot sound effects a lot instead of having new lines of dialogue spoken. Heard Vincent didn't want to get mixed up in the rabble, told all his deputies to hold their position. I'm on probation, so those orders don't apply to me, I think. Anyway, this place is gonna be a war zone soon. Go to the church, you'll be safe there. Really? You bet. Got a woman there who could scare off a rich with a blink. Oh, and spread the word for me. Got it. But you ain't coming too? No, Miser, I know we tease you, but if you can't draw your gun... I'm touched, but my holster ain't so limp anymore. Miser, what happened? Listen, rival, and everyone's living here. You all mean the world to me, and I'm gonna protect this city. You've got my word, or I'm not worth my salt. Listen here, you fool boy. If you die out there, we'll never get another lawman like you. Not sure if this is some kind of deputy pride thing or what, but you better come back in one piece. Miser is kind of like the only person in the story that people, the general townsfolk of Rival like. And he kind of is like the only good guy in the story too, because his flaws of accidentally killing a woman is an accident, where Selina's or Selma's, whatever her name is, flaws are just she's murdering people, and same with Bunny and Baron, and same with Ilongano. Hey, I'd rather pick a fight with the whole platoon of Icy's goon than those two. You miser? Now, what's a lowly deputy like you doing wantonly defying Lord Isildrag? I wouldn't be surprised if he gets infected with Zessel, though. I wouldn't be surprised if all of the characters get infected with Zessel, and then Arissa ends up having to fight him 5 times. Well, this is embarrassing, but I ain't a deputy no more. You're talking to a plain old miser, the neighborhood fool. That being said, I've still got plenty of neighbors I need saving. Sorry, but I'm gonna have to accelerate things. Here we have Selena. Hoy, this sucks. Icy's folk really know how to babble on and on about nothing. She's still like torturing people trying to get information. Blah blah, Lord Icy's plan has fail safes. Blah blah, the ritual is the last resort. Now we use the seals. Next we use the seals, blah blah. Bunch of useless drivel. I wouldn't be surprised if the seals release Zessel in the bodies of all the rich people. That would make sense. Who the hell are you? Y'all are late. Interrogation's finished half a minute ago. What happened to the squad that was stationed here? Their mana traces have been cut. What have you done with them? This is funny. There's a key phrase, mana traces, here. And it's very, very late in the story to introduce mana traces as a thought or as a key phrase. I don't even know what it really means. They're right here. Or can't you smell? Smell that sweet scent. It's all that's left of them after I melted their sins away. Your warm food. Sigh. I'm burning. You witch. Again, weird for them to call people witches when they seem to know magic exists. And the Titans seem to have magic, so unless they're secretly calling the Titans witches in the background, behind their backs, it's pointless extra jargon. What do I do now? Take their uniforms and sneak in? Well, these are two guys, so it would have made more sense if one of them was female if you were going to suggest stealing their uniforms. And I assume the uniforms and everything on their possession also burns up. You'd have to be blind as a bat for all that. I really ain't cut out for detective work. You'll never beat Icy. I've heard that one before, many, many times. Man, can't any of these goons say something original? Y'all aiming for the ground or what? Here's a bullet for you, and you. One shot to shoot two people. There. So the sentence doesn't actually make any sense at all because he says one shot for you and you. I guess maybe that makes sense, but it implies he would have shot two shots. Well, here's a breath of fresh air. At least it implies it to me. Maybe I'm just not paying enough attention. Well, he's a breath of fresh air. I'll give him that at least. Woo, justice served with a smile. Better hit up the east quarter next. Hope the folks are still doing okay. You're getting sloppy, miser. Selena, what are you doing here? Cleaning up after you, apparently. Now you're free to miss the vitals all you want, but at least make sure they're immobilized here. Guess I got a little dusty. The gun ain't been out of the holster for in near as long as Rival last seen rain. Well, you best polish up fast. You're going after Icy, ain't you? Well, technically speaking, right now I'm evacuating the townspeople. Sigh. You get distracted faster than a tiny tot with a new toy. You know me, always young at heart. Wow. There's literally a single Japanese word said there, and it got turned into 7 words and 2 sentences. And oi probably, I think, just means hey. So you would have, at most, if you're going to editorialize, put hey now, not, you know me, always young at heart. Ain't a compliment when it comes to you. And see, she literally just said idiot. Like, almost anybody who knows even a little bit of Japanese knows baka is idiot. And they've turned it into, once again, 7 words. Anyways, why ain't you at the church? This is where I've been sending all the evacuees. Miser, you know I'm strong, don't you? Well, yeah, and that's why you should be back at the church, protecting everyone. Well, I think I'd be doing the town a greater service by taking down Icy. Huh? Why are you after? Looks like we're gonna have to cut the chit-chat short. Don't worry, Selena. I've got your back. I'm more than enough for to take out these goons alone. Then you've got mine? That I do. Thanks. Alright, let's do this. Accelerate. Ignite. Now, if you don't want to get burned, y'all best get out of my way. Alright, keep on moving, keep on going forward. 4 megabytes is going to be longer. And that felt like that ended in a place where it would have made sense for there to have been a battle, and yet there is no battle there. I'm fairly certain that at some point they kind of do plan to put battles in most of the chapters, but in these later episodes, past episode I would say about 4 or 5, they've gotten very lax about it, and maybe they just won't ever create new battles, and maybe that's fine too. Like, it kind of devalues the whole point of the solo player, the solo story existing in the first place. But I'm not sure there is a value for the solo story to exist after the first little advertisement bit. Like, after episode 1 and 2, the story probably should have just stopped there. And maybe every year you get another chapter, and that's it. So now we're following Arissa. Oh no, the fighting's already begun. Kiss lead. Which also could have been read kiss lead. Just try it. Fall back. These guys don't even have guns on them. They have like a book as if they're using magic more than other people as underlings. And I'd find that kind of hard to believe, because if Not could teach her underlings how to use magic, then why wouldn't Icy have taught his underlings how to use magic? Get after those fools. And Arissa certainly sounds very different in Japanese. It always turns out like this. But I can still put it into it. I just need to stop Icy. Goodness gracious, and tell me, Daisy, what'll you do after? Let's say you defeat Icy. What? Will that bring everlasting peace? Is it that simple? What Icy is doing, it's evil. I have to stop him. I kind of feel like, listening to Arissa, she may come off as a less naive, childish character in Japanese than she does in English, because she certainly comes out as just as a super naive, childish character in the English translations. And when you do, that's one vermin gone, but sure enough another will pop up. Are you gonna exterminate them all? Are you willing to play whack-a-rat across the worlds for the rest of your life? What? Who are you? Call me Flois. I'm sorry for the late introduction, Arissa. She's using the honorific, at least. And interesting, she calls her a san, as if she is the older, more respectable person, or at least on the same level, instead of Chan. Oh. How do you know my name? A fortune teller never reveals her secrets. That's kind of a completely pointless sentence to write. Are you here to harm this world or save it? Oh, what an immature question. A world ain't a coin, you know. There are more than two faces to things. Haven't you ever met anyone that was neither good nor evil? Yes, I have. Even people who do bad things feel hope and sorrow. They have their own ideas about right and wrong, I think. Maisha, who is that? Don't remember. Sometimes she seemed so hurt by her own actions. And Belphomet, he was probably good at some point. Maisha was Nerva's first puppet in the Guild Wars. You have to remember who her name is. Belphomet was Nerva's puppet in the episodes after the Guild Wars. And yet you still stood against them. I had to. They would have caused entire worlds to suffer. They would have taken everything from me and the people I care about. I don't ever want to sit and watch as evil things happen. Not while I can help it. Oh, what a marvelous answer. I apologize for my harsh remarks. I was just testing you, see? And I found that yes, you are really a wild daisy. So small and delicate, but hardy and determined all the same. I finally understand why the lodestone chose to tug you along. Lodestone. That's yet another vocabulary word that we didn't need introduced, unless the idea is that the lodestone is the stone that created this world, and even if that is the case, then they should have just called it the lodestone in the prologues when they were talking about that. What's the lodestone? And since they haven't explained it, now Arissa needs to ask that question so that the viewer knows what it is. Oh dear, I really must rectify this habit of letting things slip. Arissa, to you. Actions are either good or evil, and I don't plan on convincing you otherwise. But do make sure you never confuse light for the shadows it casts. Okay. Thank you for the advice. Don't thank me yet. Despite all I've said, I still think you're doomed to fail this little trial. Up till now, your innocence has been your greatest strength, but this time I believe it will precipitate your downfall. This would be really funny if this ends up with Arissa dead. Lois, do you know what's going on, really? I know everything, Daisy. And because you've been such a lovely conversation partner, I'll share a teensy morsel with you. I see has only finished the opening act of his plan, and the true spectacle begins now. And here we have Zessel jump in, not just immediately infect the bodies of people. Poop. It's you. I think both of these characters have fought this guy before. Yes, indeed. Zessel, at your service. And he can move really fast and cut bullets, even accelerated bullets. Which probably means basically nothing in the card game. That he'll just have some kind of card effect that's somewhat similar to that or in line with that, but it certainly doesn't mean his card would be a game winner all by itself. The curtains have risen on an unprecedented tragedy. Prepare for a shock that will ripple through the ages. They get hit, Baron and Bandit. Getting hit by Zessel also. It's been far too long, Spectre. I'm fairly certain these guys also fought him, and she fought him, so maybe everybody fought Zessel. I'm not sure if Miser did. Don't you dare blink, for some, the grand mastermind will arise from the darkness. Here we have Flauis talking, so they're going to squeeze in a fifth character onto the screen. The moment of our victory is at hand. Well, I guess maybe she just spoke without actually even appearing in that scene. Fancy meeting you here, Flauis. Why haven't you evacuated with all the other good little boys and girls? I'd hate for you to be collateral damage. So apparently he knows her. Yes. That dagger hand of yours tends to slip a lot, doesn't it? Well, Arissa, the time has come for me to bid you adieu. I do hope we cross paths again. See, the thing about shooting an arrow and then having somebody move their knife fast enough to slice bullets is there's a decent chance that even if you split an arrow in half, you still would get shot in the chest with the two halves of the arrow. So unless you can completely deflect an arrow based on your movement, that's much more dangerous than a smaller projectile like a bullet. I guess it depends on just how early he's splitting the bullet. Frankly, if you were going to do it, you would have to throw a knife with exact precision so that the bullet would split in half far ahead of you to go around your body. And I actually have seen knives split bullets, but that's more in just scientific, yes, it can be done. No, can you stake your life on it? No, you wouldn't want to. Now why I get to call the creep while that slink claims the title of mystic, I surely do not understand. Who are you? The name's Zessel, ma'am. You might call me Lord Icy's most humble assistant. Sorry, yep. So you're a bad guy? How precious. Thought that kind of vernacular only appeared in child stories. In reality, there ain't no good nor evil. All history extols is the grandest victors. But winning doesn't always lead to happiness. Well, every battle I've won has left me exuberant, blithesome, and giddy for more. You don't understand. So much is sacrificed during war. No matter how many enemies you beat, what you've lost is gone forever. If you don't mind me asking, miss, how many tussles have you got under your buckle? Why does that matter? See, I've lived through the countless battles. Think I've died through even more. So expect I know a thing or two about warfare. How can you be so happy about that? Tisk, you're a real downer, you know that? How are you gonna prance around this world weighed down by that heavy heart? Man, this is not a good experience, frankly. Having to read all of this out loud or wanting to read it all out loud. It's just not great. And then it causes me to have to drink a bunch of water because I'm talking nonstop. Gah. We were all born to die. We die and die and die until we're born again. Only then can you grasp triumph. To you mortals, war is a game, but that isn't the case for me. I am a vision of calamity, a haze of black magic, a contagion of curse. Discs. Why you? Above all, my good friend, I'm the embodiment of war. Aren't you? Stay on your toes, bun. Right, back at you, Bar. Don't you see? It's me. But I ain't. I belong on the battlefield, but don't belong to myself. My only path is to prove my existence is through the lives I take. He's one of your kind, Illiganu? No, that ain't no wretch. Ain't he just using some creepo magic? I beg your pardon? Don't you know the difference between an infection and its symptoms? I ain't using anything. I am the infestation. There he goes talking out of his butt again. No reason we all gotta waste our time on him then. Y'all get. But there's more fires need putting out, ma'am. Just leave Isondrig alive for me. The Spectre has to deal with him. Best not die on me, Baron. Pretty hard to kill a ghost. Now remember what I told you. Hit and run. Soon as the chaos descends, strike his mansion. Hmm. Sure is a tall order. You're gonna owe me a whole trainload of steak after this, got it? Yep, this feels like the point where Baron dies. But it kind of feels like a lot of the characters need to die. Because there's kind of no point in leaving characters alive to potentially come back and visit them later. You can do that and give the player a happy ending, certainly, but we're never going back to nature. We're never going back to the robot city. We're never going back to the world of the guilds. And if we do go back, it'll be hundreds of years in the future anyways. Well, I've been looking forward to a rematch. This is a game to you, ain't it? After all you said, folks living in glass houses shouldn't throw stones. I would beg to disagree. See, the game is something you play as a diversion, but I live for war. I wouldn't call that living at all. Well, I'm sorry, not everyone can have a grand purpose like yours. But, by the by, none of your plans will come to fruition anyway, because I'm cutting you down here. I don't plan on losing to you. And Icy will be felled by the Spectre. I thought ghosts were usually more about moaning and less about boasting. And might I remind you, you ain't the only mirage around here. Or here. Or here. See, he's just gonna make more copies of himself. Ain't there a true you? The beast has been fully unleashed. We are all me. Then move, if you value your life. Why would I do that? I need to get to Icy. And I'll tear through you to do it. Will I get to save another delectable defeat? Do you enjoy losing? Almost as much as I do winning. But between the two of us, there can only be one victor. That's rich. Let's vie for the title. Interesting. Every time they put him here, his head is in line with the background, and it makes him kind of look like he has cat ears. And he just said her real name, so apparently he knows her. Is this the guy? Like, that is a big twist if this is the guy that stabbed her family. Does that really change much? No. It kind of wraps up everything in a neat little bow, but it's just going to anger her more and cause her to kill him, and maybe she defeats him and that fulfills her purpose, and then as half-alive wretch, she then fully dies. Although it kind of makes no sense for them to hide her name at this point. Also, why not just say Miss and then some name? What did you call me? And they're just kind of putting a sound effect over it, and they're using the honorific Chan in Japanese. Now, don't say you've forgotten all about our first meeting. That's right, mean-spirited of you. Especially when everything's still so clear to me, down to the melody of your parents' screams. How would you know? No. Seems you finally caught on. Why would you? Oh, it ain't pertinent to the moment. There's more pressing issues you should be worried about. See, this animation is fine and all, but once it's repeated a dozen times or so, it's not really that interesting. Here. Here's where you fall. but from your corpse shall rise the shade of despair. And so, yeah, that was probably a battle. First battle of, let's see, well, there's another battle here, another battle here. It seems like maybe another battle there. So later on, there are different battles. So you get about 4. And see, in this one, it would have had to have been a swordcraft battle. Or, of course, skip that. 7 megabytes nearly of dialogue. None of these battles were particularly anywhere as difficult as fighting Baphomet, though. I got them mostly on the first try. Arg, I'd have more fun swallowing bees than dancing with you. My very heart, I take offense to that remark. Did you think I enjoyed your company? Not at all. I've never met a soul who found themselves fond of me. At least not when I stood to become the victor. Yeesh. You yap on and on about winning this, losing that. Better than drowning on about destroying this, destroying that. You love egging on the bull, don't you? I only do it 'cause I know it makes mortals squirm. The more your kind squirm, the easier you are to disassemble. If you say so. I suppose it's worth mentioning, it seems like Baron's plan is for him to potentially fail and Bunny to take over the title as Spectre and kill Icy in his stead. I see the Spectre's left quite the charm on you. This old magic. Can't say I understand the particulars. Interesting, she's doing a shot that they're animating, but I don't know if Bunny knows accelerate or ignite or anything. Any spell at all. But I hear it works best on folks who think they've got good eyes. She's doing a different kind of shot that splits the bullets or makes illusion bullets. Too many for you to count. Feeling cornered yet? Yes, you've got my back right against the proverbial wall. But seeing how this is more of a trial, I don't mind it too bad. You know, I've never seemed to tire of the Spectre's spells. I've seen his handiwork just as much as you, I'm sure. Yeah, and pigs fly. You don't know the first thing about Baron. What a frightfully wrong assumption, little rabbit. Get to talking. He just told me the same thing. You don't know? The first thing about Bunny. What a frightfully wrong assumption, Sir Bandit. Has she ever shot you through the heart? Have you ever cut her fresh spring skin? Of course you haven't. Of all the bull. It ain't spilled blood we share, Slick. It's purpose. The scales need to be tipped. And we've a right mind to keep on tipping the whole till the whole world collapses? Please don't make me laugh, haha. I can't bear it. What's so funny? Bear and I share the free-willing sense of freedom. We'll go where no varmints have gone, up till the day it kills us. Forgive me, but I'm simply so elated to be right. Good gravy, would you just talk regular for once? You truly don't see the level of your ignorance, do you? A shame that a stranger knows your partner better. So much talk here. How? From us killing you a couple times? And what better way to a person's heart than to give them your life? Man, can you just hush up and fight, or what? You know, I thought you were each other's weakness, but your true foible is clear as mud now. Your connection, it's a mighty thin thread, ready to snap at any moment, far as I can tell. A thread. You a tailor now? A thread, or worth at least a rope. Mortals are poor little critters, aren't they? When emotions gets the better of them, they look above for answers, but there's only storm clouds up there, and they herald death. Make no mistake, you'll see how correct I've been all along. Now I'll use this frayed twine that binds you to wring life from your necks. That entire chapter was like nothing. Up to so far. I reckon I've got a pretty good idea of what you are now. And they just jump forward in the important revelations because that all apparently happened in the battle in the card game. And what's your verdict, Executioner? Magic's got its limits, and you're no exception. I'll just have to keep putting you through hell till your mana runs out. Put a devil through hell? Then go on and burn me with your fire. Just how many licks will it take to exhaust me? A lily-livered coward like yourself, probably until your master gets bored. Coward, no sir. You're the one afeard of the truth. Better to be war-dancing phantom than a boot-looking mutt. You've got it all wrong. Lord Icy doesn't need his boots licked. He's a titan. When he moves, the world shakes. He could crush anything he wanted to. Which he does, with impunity. It's only fortunate that not in Vincent art is active. So he's got the high ground on him? He sure does, sir. He sure does. Not that the same could be said for you. Spectres prefer the low ground, more shadows to creep around. Come on, pop back up. Let's finish you off. Gah, haha. Or run with your tail between your legs again. Once again, this is just proof that I should not play visual novels. I definitely don't like this massive amount of dialogue. Particularly when it's so pointless. Nez, an affluent citizen, so we realize now he has been infecting the citizens instead of the underlings, which doesn't probably change much. You low life. Oh dear, you've killed an innocent man. He probably didn't have a sin to his name. Once my strain has been fully unleashed, I can hop into any old body, so long as they have flesh and blood and a soul for me to harbor. To hell with you. Gaha. They're kind of like constantly powering up. What did I do? I think that was Japanese for why, not what did I do. Oh, this trick always works against gentlemen like yourself. You hate to see it. The suffering of the innocent. Regard yourself as a good guy, and the Ices as the bad. Those who are bound to their sense of right and wrong are all the weaker for it. Want to know what the little bunny said links you? Freedom. She said you'll keep flapping your wings till you pick a day to die together. She knows our purpose. I pull no legs, sir. I'm not like you mortals. I've no need for lies. Hurry this up. You're certainly a powerful one, I'll give you that. And your head might be as hard as your convictions are firm. And to have a plan to take out the Titans, that takes real guts. But that's what makes you vulnerable. I've got no guts of my own, you see. No weaknesses here. It's weird that seemingly either Icy or Zessel can control the wretches now that we know the wretches are actually just souls of damned people, as it were. What the hell are these? A gift from your friend. Just... Gar. You know, I've learned how wretches are made after I infected that woman. They're dead humans. Isn't that grand? So, were those wretches of the two people that just died? I guess you assume that's the case. Although, then why not just show them as their actual appearance? And then who is this wretch? Gar. Fast suckers, ain't they? Gar. Oh. Is that panic I detect? You know, there was a point here, and we're not getting any flashbacks in the story, so they've kind of just dropped a plot point in which Miser did run into a wretch that said his name and was almost certainly the woman who had been shot by him. And I guess they're just implying that that was a situation that is just never going to be resolved, so I don't even know why you would introduce that as a possible thing. Like, I doubt that specific wretch is going to show up again. Berg. Sorry for your misfortune. It looks like Lady Luck has decided to not grace you with her presence. Isn't it delightful, though? A dead man making other men in his image? I do declare the drama writes itself. Yeah, I do suspect that whoever writes these stories thinks themselves a great drama writer, and I just don't agree. I just don't think it's that good. Didn't you say you'd fight me till my mana ran dry? Seems like you might run out first, and no one is coming to save your pretty hide. It is also very possible that 99.9% of all visual novels available are as badly written as this is. And that's not to say this is a terribly written story, but it's not a great story. I'm also not really one for reading novels anyway, so I don't have a unique disposition to appreciate them anyways. Whether they're visual novel video games or whether they're just real world books. You know, I might have tasted sweet defeat one more time had I come alone. This seems like they're spending a lot of time on Baron so they can kill him. But with enough friends, it seems like anybody can tip the scales, can't they? Why keep this farce up? What nerve? This farce is a step on my path to victory. Sounds like you have expected to win by killing me. But a specter don't die. What are you on about? Ain't a soul alive who knows who I am. Since I started this kind of work, I had my jamming up and active. Might as well be smoke in the breeze to most folks, given that none of them know the identity of the Spectre. If you manage to take me down, you've only won the battle, friend, not the war. Well, obviously that was the whole idea. That's rich. You sound as if you've got a spare phantom lying around. She'd be angry if she knew you called her a spare. especially since she's stronger than me. The only thing keeping her in check is my life. If I die, well, not even the Titans would be safe from her wrath. I see you very, very well. Wonderful, superb. It's just as I calculated. Just as I thought. Gahaha. Don't know one's imminent demise could be so funny. Oh my friend, there's no greater joy than the joy I feel right now. Gaha, the sheer tomfooliness of it all. Gah. Your plan was smart, noble, even, but in the end, nothing's gonna change for this world. Now die. Die knowing the meaningless of your life. Gaha. Really, really long. I can't get over how freaky you are. Sure, didn't tickle me. Sure don't tickle me, I can tell you that much. You've got scruples. An entirely different vibration from your partner. Aren't you certain we're more alike? Not one iota, bub. That almost certainly would have been translated directly and literally as not one bit, not iota. Are you sure? We're both still breathing after all. It is worth mentioning that the Japanese language tends not to have a lot of synonyms, as it were, the same words meaning the same thing. If there is a different word in Japanese, it does have different meaning, and that's where you would have like bit and iota not really existing directly in Japanese. You probably could spell out or anglicize iota if you needed to use that very specific word, but in actual common conversation you wouldn't. We're both still breathing after all, huh? The hell have you done? Shoot the messenger if you must, but your partner's dead, little rabbit. I must say, I was surprised by his gumption. He fought as hard as a bull in a pin, which made my victory all the more glorious. Before his body had time to become a corpse, he killed me. Had he half your spunk, he would have actually killed me dead. I can't. He said that the specters don't die, which might be true in some sense, but I managed to finish him easy once I found the frayed connection between you. It feels good to win. Go me. You haven't won nothing, and I don't want to hear any more lies out of your full mouth. Go see for yourself. You should be tumbling where you left him. Baron, you better not have up and died, leaving me all alone in this world. Baron. So we had like 10-15 minutes of fighting now just to get back to more dialogue and emotional conversation. Fighting with tons of conversation in the fighting also. Where are you, Baron? Is that you? She doesn't probably know who he is either, considering the like blurriness of his face, and maybe the blurriness wore off when he died, so there would just be a body somewhere that she wouldn't recognize. Are you there? Baron, you gotta answer me, you idiot, or I won't be able to find you. So she did just pick him up and couldn't tell. Notice all the people have their eyes closed to represent being dead, and because the Japanese really wouldn't want a creepy open-eyed dead body in a somewhat kid-focused game. Which one of you is Baron? Why not pick the guy who's dressed really differently and has the gun on him? Gaha. You creep. Out with it. Where's Baron? A fine question indeed. It's hard to track down a specter, especially when you didn't know their corporeal form. A shame that not even his lovely little partner could see through his trickery. Feels absolutely treacherous, don't it? That a-hole was supposed to go out in a blaze of glory. Not what he said, Not in the slightest. It's true he wanted to die, but only so that he could martyr himself and start a revolution. Hogwash. We're gonna spend our lives tearing down the system together. Think what you want. That won't change reality. Then the hell with your reality. I ain't gonna sit down and accept this. I won't. Why did I teach you my mama's poem if you were gonna leave me? I guess I haven't seized victory yet, huh? Have I? I thought you might break down after hearing the good news. But if you're still up for a little merriment, then so am I. This is like the only time it even slightly makes sense to have multiple copies of the same character in the story. Why? Why did you die before me? And honestly, if they were just going to use the same copies of characters over and over again, then why not just have Zessel be the reason why we saw the same body characters for scoundrels and underlings all the time? Just have him secretly take control of a bunch of people's bodies and be fairly weak in their bodies, and then eventually he would get stronger and appear as himself. You didn't tell me squat about your damn plan, even though we made a promise back at Spurred On. One shot hits 3 of them. He should probably not line himself up like that. Kiss the hand that feeds you. Fear the gaze that leads you. Marry the bride that needs you. Sweeter words binds us. Arg. Screw it to hell with the whole damn world. Yeah, once again, her repeating the poem seems not to really reveal anything, other than maybe it means something to her. There's nothing left here for me. Nothing left to take now that Baron's gone. I loved eating together. I loved riding in Val together. Val must have been the car. We even shared more than a few laughs along the way. And see, this puts her in a weird position where if she's just going to be like suicidal and upset going forward in her story, she's either going to end up dead, and at the very least she's not going to be an interesting enough character to want to take to the next world, because her desire for vengeance, I think, mostly is going to stop with defeating Zessel, and she's not really going to care much about going after Icy, let alone Serenity or Nerva. Well, that's all gone now. You took it from me. And now, I'm gonna shoot your sorry carcass limb from limb. Just skip forward. Sorry that we're skipping some of the dialogue, but this is just way too long. Then there's a challenge here with Runecraft and Havencraft. And that's a shorter experience at 4 megabytes. And I don't feel like there's really enough time to flesh out Florries greatly here. I just don't think we're going to get a satisfying ending at all. There's too many characters. It seems I let my expectations get the best of me. Has it truly come to the end? To an end? You were supposed to be my symbol of hope, but you are, as of yet, still inefficient. As a result, you are nothing more than an omen of despair. Behold, the Titans have begun to stir. So Vincent apparently is going to join the fight. And once stirred, they seek only to destroy. She had already joined the fight. Will my child emerge victorious once again? Is there no force powerful enough to move destiny? And her child, I guess, is probably the Three Titans. Man, it's been so long, we've like completely forgotten about Miser and Selena's part in the story. Which really just goes to show there are just too many characters, and it would have been better to integrate the parts that are important about Miser and Selena into the characters of Baron and Bunny also, and then at the very least you have only 3 main characters and Orisa that matter. We've got wretches on our hands too. C's looking straight down the barrel of a 6-shooter. Seems to me like it's already been shot in the face. All I'm saying is, it's about to get a whole lot uglier. Look at all these people who are soon to meet an untimely end. You again? What's going on? I thought you were done for. I decided I would come pay y'all a deadly little visit, now that I've puzzled out your weakness. This is going to be funny if he just actually succeeds to kill most, if not all, of the main characters. And don't think I'll lose this time. I had a change of heart. I need a palate cleanser after tasting so much sweet defeat. Is that so? That's quite an active imagination you've got there. At least you keep us on our toes. You're feisty. Just like the little rabbit. She's currently putting up quite the fight, you know. Smells like victory for the Spectre after all. For mercy's sake, your gums flap on and on. Apologies, let me leap to the point. I'm here to concentrate magical reserves. A rather deadly extraction process. And if we'll just take a beating sitting down, we've got a whole damn city to as if we take a beating sitting down. We've got a whole damn city to protect. Really? The whole damn city? Seems to me that that's an awfully ambitious thing to say, Deputy, seeing as how it wasn't me who you killed before. Those corpses. What's going on? They're starting to look an awful like the town folk. Stop staring, Miser. It's an illusion. You think so? In nasty craftsmanship, I'll give you that. Something only you could cook up. My word, you make a compliment feel like a stab in the heart. That means you're gonna kill me again? Shut your mouth already. Here you go. You know, you all remind me a lot of Baron. Just weaker. Who's Baron? Oh, Baron is Baron of Bunny. I've already forgotten him. Listen here, you chicken-hearted freak. I know I'm weak, but I've accepted my lot in life, and that means I can overcome whatever it throws at me. Accelerate. Trigger. I'll turn you into flesh flambe as many times as you come back from the dead. Ignite. Trigger. Even like when she's saying ignition, that's a anglicized English version of saying ignition in Japanese. So the fact that they've shortened it to ignite makes really no sense. Like, why editorialize and change the word and still use just a shorter form of the word? It's changes for no sake. How sweet the smell that saved a wretch like me. How sweet the smell that heralds my flawless victory. Let's make this quick. Rapid fire. Well met. Are you done with your stupid schemes yet? Yeah, stop winding us up with your weirdness. Now, why are you all fixated on such trifling matters? Just shut up and accept you've lost already. I'm afraid you're mistaken. This is my victory. So shoot all you like. The god helps those that help themselves. The gods. Once again, I guess it's worth mentioning that they mentioned multiple gods, and yet, by all means, it seems like Flauis is probably the only one god of this world, and if that is the case, she's not really doing much. And we still don't really know what's going to happen with that magic bullet that's been following around in the story for an entire episode. Oh, I'll shoot. I knew I'd have to eventually. And I won't miss my target a second time. He's been shooting for a while, so this is an odd line of dialogue. You sure you can hit me? With all my heart. Rapid fire. God, it's like riding a bicycle. What? So he's killing his friends that he kind of knows and an underling while he's at it. Just make sure he kills more women than men to traumatize him. What? Huh? Miser, why? Miser, turn your eyes away. Wait, did I just... What happened to him? She wasn't... Get it together, Miser. That was an illusion. It wasn't real. Don't lose focus now. Don't let him fool you. I don't know if she really believes that or not, but she's certainly going to tell him that to protect him. But I didn't mean to. Miser, wake your ass up. I'm still here. Illusion or not, it must have feel unreal. The real question is, why can Zessel not just infect any of these people and defeat them immediately that way? Like, you could potentially infect Selena, then just kill yourself and then kill Selena's body. Where is he? Where? Oh, where? Why is it Selena? Have you been here all along? Stay back. Ain't safe. It's awful. There were monsters at the church. I think I might be rich. Here I am. In fact, I can be anywhere you pitiful little minds imagine. What did you do with him? So, why would the poor people also be infectable? Like, what's the point of Icy's brand being on the rich people then, at that point? I am him, and they are me. Don't you understand? Don't you want to understand? Did I just shoot? Were you? I'm afraid you did. It's just as you imagine. Claim your own weakness. Know your own fragility. Yeah, an argument is being made that all of the main heroes should just leave this land because there's literally not going to be any normal people alive after that point. Which, compared to the Guild Wars situation, we really only saw 3 civilians in the Guild Wars, and one assumes that each of them survived, and that was that. A bunch of underlings maybe died. I'm afraid you did. It's just as you imagine. Claim your own weakness, know your own fragility. Ark, why are you doing this? There's no reason. Go. Shoot me. Oh mercy, shoot me, please. Coming right up. I'll get you with my hottest blaze. Selena. What, Miser? I killed them. I can't keep this up. But if we let him go, I can't do it. I'm done for. Hehe. Haha. Shut it. God. He. Fine, I'll shut you up. Haven fire. I win again with joy. What ecstasy. Miser. Look at me. Selena, I'm sorry. This is once again an instance where they have the lip flap just play for a certain amount of time that seems to not really mean anything. It seems like what they've probably done is taken the full length of the sound clip and programmed it to just animate the lip flap for the full length of it, which doesn't make sense when they say Selena and then there's a long dramatic pause and then he says Gomen, which is I'm sorry in Japanese. For what? Damn you. Don't apologize to me. Don't act like you've lost your marbles, especially when you ain't done nothing wrong. This sin ain't on your hands. He made you pull the trigger. And if he hadn't, this damn whole world would've. No one saw. No one has to know. I won't tell Sol. It never happened, okay? Even if people did find out, no one would blame you, Miser. People have better sense than that. I figured. Judge not, lest you be judged, right? What is the matter? Listen, your pain is my pain. I want to look out for you, be your guardian angel, but you've got to help a little. Why let this world get to you? That'll lead you to nothing but suffering. Don't you know that? I can't stand it no more, Miser. It's funny if she just shoots him. I'm sorry. I know what you want. And I know what I have to do. I knew that this day would come. I knew it deep down. Even still. Feels like my insides are pulling themselves apart. You will offer me penance? Of course. You need it, don't you? You can't see the wonderful man you are. Just a sin trapped inside. But I'll absolve you with the embrace of the holy flame But know that this isn't what I want. I'll have to live with your judgment till kingdom comes. Please, Miser, while there's still time, forgive yourself. For me, show our foolish gods that your smile is real and good and true. I see now. You've been watching over me all these years. I'm an idiot, that's for sure. And see, this would be the big dramatic point where he calls himself an idiot, and it would come back to her calling him an idiot multiple times in the previous parts of the story. But since they translated idiot into a whole bunch of other insults like doofus, it does not have that same impact. But Selena, don't you dare. I'm sorry. Please stop this. Take care of yourself. Which arigato is thank you. No, Miser. So she kills him out of his own suicidal desire, I suppose. Fine. Those sins of yours. I'll take them. I'll absolve them. Purify your soul. Now, so this is going to basically leave only female characters in the story as far as heroes. You've got Bunny, Selena, Ilgondo, and Arissa. All the men have tragically died. There you go with that dumb smile. It's been a while since I last saw you sleep. You look just like you did when you were little. Turns out we grew up real twisted, didn't we? All in the past now. Now why go to like a almost completely black screen here? Like, it's a black screen with a blue background where the text is. Just like very default. As if this art was supposed to have been animated and this was supposed to have been one of those high budget zoomed in image of her holding him as he's dying, and they ran out of time or ran out of budget. Or maybe they wanted to censor it because it would have been too gory. You're the only one I've wanted to protect, but I ain't nobody's angel now. No one else is worth protecting. How could you do this to me? I hate this whole wide God's damn world. So is she just shooting herself? I guess that might be the case. So is the whole idea here to just break the naivete of Orisa? Because that feels like that kind of is the only thing that can happen unless we have a very unsatisfactory reboot of the story completely. We've got 3 more chapters, and it does not feel like there's enough time in the 3 last chapters to fight each of the titans. Why must mortals struggle? Why doth they war so? Why hath sorrow given rise to tears overflowing? I suppose it is true that in the robot world, they basically failed in that scenario too, so it's not an uncommon pattern to have perhaps 2 chapters that are doomed, then you end up in the second world that somehow has some connection to the previous world in the form that the robot world in Netraria ended up having a connection, and then they succeeded. I mean, this really feels like they're wrapping up things before back to narration. Why must mortals struggle? What doth they war so? Why doth they war so? Why hath sorrow given rise to tears overflowing? The sage answers thus: the flames of war burneth within mortal hearts, and none may escape the singing. Fear's not, life deserveth to be consumed. Insignificant. The peregrinators? I don't know what the word is. I want to say progenitors, but it's not spelled that way. The whatever that word is, mass to all, even themselves, their ambition is broken. They are akin to rolling stones rolling along the wayside, inconsistent. And so these two are, their heads are covered up, and I guess that is just to assume that maybe Bunny killed herself after this last scene we saw with her. The gendarme, that's a big word, whose justice sinketh into sin and penance. All that lieth before him is unending darkness, is akin to shadows creeping across the city, inadmissible. The godless one, she claimeth divinity for vanity, but her transcendence is folly. She is akin to wounds wrought from swords, infected, and we think she's dead too, which then just leaves her, who she was half dead to begin with, but we really didn't see anything in the story that would have implied she would have been defeated. So I don't know why she's in shadow. The trespasser, her past, future bending onto themselves. Only her impulse to destroy remaineth intact. It is akin to trouble boiled in the broth of rancor, indignant. This probably makes more sense in Japanese. And the world leaper, a well who hath crossed dimensions in pursuit of those who keep. She will fall before ruin, inescapable. And she clearly can't be dead. They wouldn't kill her off screen. Salvation hath perished, the story of mortals wilt follow suit. See, and I don't know why we'd have recap stories here and then have 2 more chapters, unless the idea was that these 2 more chapters were added later, but I don't even know why you would tease like a false ending or a wrong ending in this case. Yeah, I just don't know how you have a good ending here at all. Yeah. Like, we've kind of already seen this. So, it seems like she's still alive and she's fighting again. Or this is the past. Yeah, what a brilliant display. My own magic. It seems to be fleeing me. Yeah, it seems like he just finally ran out of magic. Which is what they had suggested, but we had seen no hint that that was actually true. So, it's kind of a pathetic way to win. I'm so damn tired of your damn face, of this whole damn world. I can't wait to end it all. I can't wait another. Just in time. I don't know if Bunny ever even met Arissa. She may have met her for like a minute or 2. They definitely never gave Arissa enough screen time for them to have any kind of real friendship with any of these characters. Pant. I'm sorry. There were other fights. I tried to get here as soon as I could. This battle is awful. So many people have lost their lives. Who cares? Only one of them mattered. Now he's gone. Baron's bit the bullet and he ain't never coming back. No, he was so strong though. Never even knew what he looked like. I never will. I didn't know that. I'm sorry. I've seen things before. The sadness, the loss of life. Seen this before. It's always cruel. I know it hurts when we lose someone, especially someone you were so close to. I wonder how close we were. Since Bunny and Baron were supposed to be the swordsmen, swordcraft players, is there something really in the ninja assassin maid character, Erica, I believe her name is, that would have ruined the story had she been around too? I don't really think so. But I guess also I could say that even Arissa, as one of the 8 main characters, didn't really add anything to the story. Let's just keep moving forward. Did he even give 2 licks about me? Of course he did. I'm sure of it. I think whenever they have the characters shake back and forth, it's always a mistake. It's a bad animation. It looks very pathetic. Why are you crying? I can't help it. He didn't deserve that. He might have. But he'd appreciate your tears all the same. What's your name anyway? Have we met? I'm Arissa. So, yeah, I don't know if they even met before. Bunny here. Bunny and Arissa just doesn't have the same ring, does it? You can still smile. That's good. Smiling, am I? Guess as a grin is about all I can muster. Kind of fitting actually, because this whole world is a joke. Without Baron, there ain't nobody who'll run hell by my side. In a funny way, she's almost getting like the Joker introduction, that she's going to turn into the Batman DC Joker. Who's going to help me eat my weight in ribs? Who's going to go spurred on with me even when the barricade keep says to get. Sigh. Never again will we bunker down in another hideout together. Arissa, he was dear to me. It was all dear to me. I'm sorry. I wish I could do something. Ain't your fault what fate had in store for him. But I've got a right mind to bless this kind of fate into kingdom come. You with me, Arissa? If it's what needs to be done. Kiss the hand that feeds you, fear the gaze that leads you. Be funny if this poem somehow means something to Arissa and is like the key to defeating all the keepers. And this whole 2-chapter experience was literally for Arissa to hear this phrase. Marry the bride that needs you. Sweeter words bind us, careful they don't bleed you. Forward, don't drop the assault. Are graying hell on them, so here we have knots, men, and more scoundrels. Or just general citizens. Yeah. Serves you all right. Shooting them in the back pretty much. And then we get a lightning sound and they apparently get turned into wretches. Huh? What incarnation are those? We won't let you run amok anymore. Bring it. We'll hold out as long as it takes. Did not just shoot all 3 of them? Maybe. Stupendous work, Baron. What a beautiful chaos. Mistress Not, report from the front lines. Proceed. We've got their backs against the wall. I reckon we can deliver about double the punishment they can. I love the smell of warfare in the morning. Hopefully we took care of little Cecil in the crossfire. But there are still a couple of obstacles, Mistress, namely the wretches. We've got eyes on a strange woman who seems to control them. Can't tell if she's friend or foe, as she's merely been raising Cain on all sides. Commendable. Chaos is fundamental on the battlefield. Leave them be for all I care. Yes, ma'am. Oh, one last thing. The seal might pose a problem. A snake like Icy would resort to petty schemes. According to our scouts, the whole bunch of the folk from the Golden Hills were inscribed with its magic, which could... You can stop right there, son. The adults need to talk. So Vincent just shows up at the last second. Howdy do, Sheriff. Finally decided to see the fireworks for yourself. Thought I'd drop by, seeing how the scales have tipped and all. Leave us. Yes, ma'am. Well, why have you dragged your sorry hideout out into the open now? Needed to do you a courtesy. Let you know you're losing this war. Huh? Not from where I'm standing, hon. The seal is Icy's secret weapon. All he has to do is flick his wrist, and all the pitiful souls he's got marked with will turn into walking, talking bombs. By my record, might be damn near the entire Golden Hills that goes boom. And how did you come by this information, Sheriff? Justice is blind, but the law hears everything. Not. Was this delightful little chat supposed to convince me to turn tail and run from everything I've worked so hard for? Do you know how much I've sacrificed? I pray you haven't sacrificed your good sense for more of this nonsense, though I fear that I know the truth. This feels like the revelation of the bomb should have been fairly earlier, 2 or 3 chapters earlier, and there should have just been a lot more involvement of the Titans in general. It would have made more sense to have Baron fall to not or Vincent instead of Zessel, or even Icy. Look, you can't kill him. Not without killing yourself. Why would he care, though? If those two kill themselves, then he's in charge. Nobody weaves a curse like Icy. His magic exacts automatic, unjust revenge. Whatever be taken from him, he'll take it back in equal measure, lives included. Aren't you just a bona fide man of investigation? Wouldn't be the Titan of Order if I weren't. Take care not. Not so fast, Sheriff. I'm afraid you've misjudged this situation. It would be funny if she never planned on taking out Icy at all. She was using all of this as a facade to drive out Vincent so she could kill Vincent, and then the power could be split between Icy and Not. I realize the amount of sacrifices this will take. Maybe I've already sacrificed more than what's reasonable. Now she's doing the cube thing again. But my cutest dog has died an unworthy death. I felt him split his magic into two parts, but one part went cold. A pencil pusher like you would never understand. That boy meant something to me. He was mine, and I don't take too kindly to the destruction of my property. Not kindly at all. Her eyes glowing green again. So I won't back down. This is a simple matter of annihilation, of extinction. See, and his eyes are blue. And I don't know why you would do this special animation when you're almost certainly not going to end up even fighting him at this rate. The little lady has lost her favorite toy and now she wants to throw a hissy fit. When you put it like that, I see why you might go on all this twaddle. Do you think you're the only one who suffers? Who's experienced loss? We've all had a confidant or loved one ripped away from our grip, myself included. That is the way of the world. So you better cut this crap, Curse Queen, and finally recognize that this world don't revolve around you. Looky here, a wolf howling in the daylight. You think you can kill me? I'll box you up and crush you flat. I don't have to kill you, Not. Delaying you is more than enough. See, all this custom animation for like one scene here, and I don't think you play as either character. Like, so yeah, this chapter 9, Shooting Titans, is not even a challenge. It's not even a fight. So there is a fight here, maybe not, but I don't know if that means you're gonna fight Not or Icy or Vincent or all three of them or none of them. You play as a Forcecraft character, so Orisa basically. 5 megabytes. 2 more chapters to go. And they gotta rush a satisfying ending into 2 chapters, and I don't think they're gonna succeed. I see it. Is that Icy? That's his mansion, stupid. You know a house from a person, don't you? Sorry, I'm just kind of nervous. It's even worse than when I faced Valdane, which, once again, is a character I don't really remember. I think Valdane was the elf guy. He's mocking us by hauling up in his castle. Normally rich folks run when you waltz up to the doorstep with rebellion behind you, but he's probably having himself a nice little nap in there. That's proof of how little he thinks of us. Yep, he's beyond forgiveness. We'll defeat him and save your world. Who gives a rat ass about this world? I want to see it burn. But that doesn't mean we can't start a fire from the top down. I can't believe my very eyes. You've come. Does he know either one of these characters? I don't think he does. We sure have. I see. Yeah, there definitely is a point to mention here that you're losing a lot of the drama here by giving him such a hard to pronounce German name, Eichhorndrig, as a American, as a United Statesian, or me having to take on a cutesy nickname every time I try to say his name just does not make him feel like a super powerful enemy, even though we kind of know he is. Of course, there would have been plenty of opportunities for him to have been the only Titan and the only bad guy in the past 2 episodes story, and then we could have seen him do a lot more bad things and seen just how terrible he is. There really is no reason for there to be 3 Titans, it feels like. Your days of terrorizing the world are over. Like, the comparisons to Baphomet wouldn't be great, just in the fact that there would be one bad guy in charge. It's fairly common in stories for there to be one bad guy in charge, so they don't have to change it every time to give different numbers. I'm sure they are. I wasn't expecting a pair of you after all. Now I suppose I'll let you all say your piece before I bring this farce to a conclusion. What do you hope to accomplish by coming here? I'm not reading this right. We'll kill you dead. And save the world. Save this world. Don't you all have gumption? Go on then. Let's give it a tussle. And he just deflects their bullets and arrows easily. But first I need a moment to savor this blessing. You see, your arrival has been an awful long time coming, and the sheer joy of it all threatens to burst out my chest like a bat out of hell. To imagine a couple of meadowlarks could overtake Zessel. Miracles do come in strange packages. Zessel, you're the reason he was so ruthless to everyone. Of course, I made him. He is the fruit of my prosperous endeavors. Why did you force him to hurt people? Why have you brought so much sadness into this world? I don't expect a simple songbird to understand. This rabbit leaps. See, he didn't even catch her name, so calling her rabbit as kind of a joke to her being called Bunny kind of doesn't even make sense. There's no reason. There never has been. Even before all hell broke loose, this whole world was losing its marbles. Now, thanks to you, we can't even go back to the simple comfort of a chaotic life. So there's wisdom in that head after all. Yes, this world is devoid of reason. There was no reason that you came across your partner, and he in turn came into a miserable end. Nor was there a reason for that boy of justice to have faltered and lost his life, or his unholy admirer to have faltered and lost her faith, and the woman who was ensnared by terror and insanity of her past. No reason for any of it. Wow, it seems like they're just talking directly to the player here. Yeah, there was no reason for this story at all. We just told it anyways. That is the way the world turns, nothing more. But I commend you all for doing your best, for living your lives as if you could defy the mortal chains that keep you all bound to uncertain futures. But you can't beat reality. Nobody can defy fate. Well, with the exception of myself, of course. I am superior. I stand above the masses as only being truly capable of changing this world. It is within my rights, by creation, and within the possibilities of my facility or faculty. On the other hand, your kind were born lesser. You were bred for a different purpose. Don't sound to me like we're different. Haas, if you were born into this crap world, then that means you sprang out of this manure like the rest of us. I have had thoughts in the past that all of this single player story kind of feels like it might be a virtual reality that they're experiencing and none of the worlds are real. We are getting back to that same feeling. I think you probably have to chalk that up just to bad writing, unless they want to put a major twist here that it's like everybody dies and then it just says game over, and then Arissa walks out of a VR headset and we realize that, oh, all of the stories in these past two chapters were made up and she's still on Natera in some kind of VR machine. I'm afraid you still don't understand. I wasn't born in this world. I gave birth to it. Entire building shaking. He plumb blew away the mansion. You ever see magic like this? So he either blew up the mansion or transported them. I would think he would have transported them. He's powerful. The stone Icy stands before you. I am the lone creator, living alone within my creation. Alright, well then what about Vincent and Not then? His eyes are glowing red. He feels like he should have been a vampire. In the beginning, this world was an infinite wasteland. No life, no form. There was but only a solitary stone, and the one who picked up this stone would later become known as a god. Now, that god split into three parts. Its aspect which sought violence was inherited by a king who ruled through force. Its aspect who sought peace was inherited by a king who ruled through order. So, yeah, the god split into three aspects that then were put into humans. Which, this is hard to believe. And its leftover aspect, the one that craved for its lost parts, he lived forevermore and became a king that ruled through prosperity. So he's saying he didn't even go into another person's body. So is his whole plan and his whole ritual to merge the three titans back together? If that's the case, okay, why did it take him so long? Why does he have to do it this way? Why couldn't he have just talked to Vincent and not if that was the plan? It does solve the problem of there not really being enough time to have three battles. Listen closely, Meadowlarks. My craving has never ceased, even as my life stretched over the millennia. You mean that you've been alive forever? That's impossible. Is it that hard to believe? Look upon this broken body, and you'll find all the proof you need. I've lived well beyond my prime. This body is at its limits. Even should I fall by your hand, you still wouldn't possess the right to change the world. This was never about winning or losing for me, and I can give a hoot who wants to change the world. Change what? I'm only here because you deserve to suffer. I still don't understand this world, but I know what you're doing is wrong. And for that, I swear we'll defeat you. And we get the animation on Arissa. I guess we haven't seen this animation very often, where we've seen the other characters glow a lot more in these past two episodes. Finally, after all this time, it's going to happen. Y'all just wait a little longer to die now. No matter how bad this gets, I can't have you running from the most important trial of your lives. Come, show this diseased purveyor of prosperity the strength of your conviction, so that I may call for reclamation. So he's just going to try and use his spells to steal the life from them and the magic from them, and take back all that has been ripped from my grasp. Yeah, and they'd shown the reclamation spells, but that was a long time ago. That was hours and hours ago, so I wouldn't blame anybody for forgetting him doing that to Miser. If you really made this world, why would you fill it with so much pain? As if I would deign to respond to such an ill-conceived question. I don't understand. Further, magma was so kind. What's a god if it doesn't care for its creation? An absurd notion. A god will treat its creation exactly as it means to. No point in reasoning with the loon. No one with a head as big as his. Besides, he didn't make nothing worth anything now, no how. Just this unforgivable dump he calls a world. Haha, yes. Let your anger fill you. The more you pop off, the more your mana spikes. You're a veritable font of magic, more than I ever thought possible. Too bad for you, however, that your bullets fall under the umbrella of my property, which him claiming he owns everything now seems to almost have a ring of truth to it, if he is actually the person who created all the world. And that might very well explain why that one magical bullet might be the only thing on this planet that he doesn't own. Let's see. Otherwise, you would have had a chance otherwise. And is he knocking her back or teleporting her to a different alleyway background that looks exactly the same? Marissa says, Bunny. Off screen. I'm fine. Go and get... What did you do? I called for reclamation to take back what I'm owed. Shots fired against me. 1,042 bullets. A total worth of 72,940 gold. Who shot 1,042 bullets at him? Like, for so many sequences where we've seen them shoot tons of bullets, the scene we saw was basically one. Of my hired hands, 68 seem to have given up their cowardly lives. That's 680,000 gold more. And let's not forget the price for incurring my irritation. That's 100,000 at least. He really just makes the price himself. That's not fair business. Your grand total comes to 852,940 gold, little rabbit, and I'll get back every bleeding cent. Yeah, shoot fire. It hurts. What terrible power. Rissa, run already. I'll keep him. I can't run. We have to fight. You idiot. I'm okay with being an idiot if it means lives can be saved, Bunny. See, the funny part about this, though, is her bows, her arrows, and her in general wouldn't have been on this planet and created by him, so they don't belong to him. So why is one arrow not killing him? Because that is the implication I'm getting from this, is that if even one thing from a different planet hit him, it would just immediately kill him. If that's the case, then allow me to make an appeal to your better judgment, Meadowlark. I don't want to die either. Dying is a fearsome prospect, dare I say scarier than anything else. Who knows what happens? Do you become a wretch? What's after the afterlife? And what happens if your god dies? Will I disappear? Will my creation continue on without me? Does darkness await? Blinding light? Not even I can fathom what's beyond the veil, much less understand it. It certainly also brings up an issue with what is the Keeper's roles in destroying and maybe rebooting worlds, which is, I think, kind of what they do, maybe. In a world with gods, like, we really don't know how that works, or if it works at all. So if Serenity showed up and rebooted all of Rivale in a minute, would that be a good thing, or would that be a bad thing? A fearsome prospect indeed. No greater fear in the world, I'd say. So you see, I cannot be allowed to die. You'll have to go in my steed. And it goes white. And that sounded like a bunch of blades. So was that Zessel? Did Zessel just kill him? Or did he just kill someone else? So it's over. And it wasn't enough. Or was that not, or was that Vincent? I suppose one doesn't solve the mysteries of reality in a single god's lifetime, do they? The sacrifice must continue until I can find the perfect solution. We're not down for the count yet. Damn Skippy Risa. Pest lies. I laid reclamation on you both. I laid reclamation to you both. By what privilege do you rise before me again? My powers never came from you. It was Verinda Magna's ether. She gifted me the ability to call the winds. It was her magic that protected us. Didn't understand a lick of what she said, but yeah, I've got plenty of magic left, and screw you. Now this power I did not comprehend. I do not comprehend. Was there truly such potential drifting out there all this time? I thought the only thing that could kill a god was the lodestone. But here I am, being forced to reconcile the error of my ways. Again, they're throwing in the key word of lodestone. Shoot him, Marissa. My bullets won't do squat against him. But in this already, it's too much. Nothing will change otherwise. The whole background just being shifted. While he lives, somebody else dies. While he lulls life away in his mansion, the world pays for his gluttony. You're right. I'll put all my aether into this arrow, and I'll defeat him. I swear it. Yeah, this is a really long hero's journey for Arissa to finally get her to be willing to actually not be naive and kill somebody. Do you think you can end a god? I created this world. I am this world's magic. It would be weird if all of the 8 main characters ended up being gods by defeating other gods. I don't know if that would really solve much, though. Like, even if they don't actually become gods, if they get godlike powers, that might help them defeat Serenity and Nexus Nova. What's going on? What's happening? They're working with the wretches. And amongst my creations are the blades and guns you wield. They won't harm me. And see, these two are just fighting each other, and that seems like all we're gonna get to see. What's happening? He activated the seal. Guess all we can do now is sit back and watch the fireworks. Pff, don't change a thing for me. I'll still kill them all. I figured as much, but we both know I can't have you acting in such a grievous manner. It all falls here, doesn't it? I won't die like I thought I might. Not after so much preparation, so much formulation. It's over. This battle, this sad fate, everything. Yes, just hurry up and be done with it. With this arrow, I'll banish all the woe in this world. Well then. Guess this is goodbye for me. And you click next. Seeing it, it really just feels like at that point he should have been defeated, so you have a full chapter here at the end to get rid of the other two titans, who I feel like also need to be eliminated, because they're bad guys in my book too, maybe just not as bad. This is so stretched out. It's fairly oddly paced too. Once I'm done with you, there won't be enough left to fill a damn tinderbox. Calm thyself. Should have pulled that tongue right out of your mouth. My arms have become of steel. Nah, a quick death would suit you more. If you picked your fights more wisely, all these crass killings might have served a purpose. But look around you, not. The war is over. The city is in shambles. Our people have run off to find shelter. Pot, meat, kettle. One of your mongrels ups and dies, and you let orders slip out of your hands. Mongrel. You don't understand a damn thing, not. Right back at you, Vince. Scene just showing apparently somebody. Why is this happening? Lord Icy Seal, it was supposed to save us. Apparently it just turned a person into a wretch. No, not like this. This, yeah. But if they're blowing up, they're not blowing up by much, because they're not even blowing each other up, being next to each other. Grah. Anyone without Icy Seal is just getting killed by the wretch. And these wretches seem to be under complete control. And maybe all the wretches whose minds went blank and attacked people were under control of Icy, and maybe wretches generally don't ever attack anybody. Help me, help. It seems a little excessive, but you've got kind of have to wrap up the story, so having wretches show up and kill the two children, which is particularly gory, and the old lady, I mean, what are you going to do? Like, what this really comes down to is if you had a storyline and you storyboarded it out and said, at the end of the story, we're going to have everybody die, then you probably should say at that point, well, do we want to kill the abbess? Do we want to kill the kids? Or do we just ignore them and forget about them in the story? Or do we eliminate them from the story in the first place? I feel like, honestly, you don't need the abbess or the kids. Because it very well could have been that Selena was the only one that ran the church, and she did a lot of good for average citizens, but she wasn't taking care of the kids. The miser killed a woman and felt bad for it, but she wasn't a woman that had kids. Easy enough explained there. Then you solve this problem. Also, you save a ton in budget, because then you don't have to have your character designer create this character or these two characters who play no real role. Oh gods, we humble ourselves before you and ask for your forgiveness. I don't know what gods she's really praying to, since the only gods that seem to exist in this world are Icy and Vincent and not this poor world. It didn't have to turn out this way, but I'll set things right in the end. I always do. And then we get a new animation. Will you now make your choice, for the end of days is upon us? What's the point of the bullet? Like, it's Ilgano that has the bullet at this point. She doesn't even have a gun. So, like, that feels like that's not going to get resolved. Let's see what Flowers has to say. The fortune teller. What are you here for? After a time of great strife, a turning point will come, the scales will begin to tip, and the world will begin to tremble. So choose wisely. Who is your enemy? Who will you lay waste to? My enemy? Go on, finish this. She's clearly the enemy, but I don't think you can lay waste to her. And if you do lay waste to her, I don't know what that really solves. In the current moment, Icy is the enemy. And unless Serenity or Nexus or Nerva showed up, or this is Nexus and Nerva, then the plot twist thing would be to shoot her. The insane thing would be to shoot Bunny. The more logical thing would be to shoot Icy. I don't even think Orisa knows that Vincent and Not are somewhere around here, and they very well aren't anywhere close to her to choose them as enemies. I have to destroy someone. Do it. Okay. And see, now they've gotten a little bit crazy here, because there has not been a story switch here, branching paths. Up until this point, for 11 chapters, it has been a kinetic story. Kinetic visual novel, in the sense that there were no branching paths. And the right answer, I think, is this. If you're playing true to character, then you would say this for Orisa. And shoot ... I kind of want to know who ... is. Is it Ilgano? Or is it someone else? Because Ilgano's not even in the picture. Hey, let's just subvert expectations here and shoot ... I'm afraid you don't have that right. Not for now, at least. Says Flowers. So that's apparently not the answer. And it just repeats. But there's been no other branching points, so that doesn't make any sense. No one deserves to die. But he's right there. He's right there, Orisa. Says Bunny. Did you forget about everything he did? We can't just forgive and forget. Shoot him and end this. You're right. He has to be stopped. Excellent choice. In which case, I bid you adieu until next time we meet. Come on, Risa. Get your arrow ready. Now, good. Now, just keep steady. Nobody knows what'll happen when he dies. But that doesn't matter. He has to pay. Do your thing now. See, the bigger issue, certainly, and the question should have been that he should have announced and said he was the god of this world from the beginning, and there should have always been that fear that you would have destroyed the world. Here goes. I won't miss. Come forth as verdant wind, be my wings as I invoke thy name. So, is she just gonna wound him and not kill him? Fly true. Yeah. It hurts. I've never felt this much pain in my life. I'm sorry, but it has to be this way. Don't apologize. Not like this. I'm sorry. It's sad when someone dies, even if they had to. See, it seems like your choice didn't really even matter because she still ended up killing him. What misplaced kindness. This world ain't no place for a bleeding heart. Especially when it pumps blood to the head full of air. Oh, how I've longed for this moment, to savor a new form. It's just so damn fortunate that a metal like you flew my way. So is he gonna now steal her body and become young again? Or why didn't nobody stay down dead around here? Oh, there'll be no more death for me. Not after today. And apparently he just killed Bunny. I'm sure you'll have heard the tale of my power by now. A reclaim that was taken from me in equal and undue measures. Equal and undue are kind of contradictory terms. And you took my life. Words can't express my gratitude. I feel like I clicked nobody has to die. Did I not click that? Somehow, did I accidentally click the other button? What's going on? Do you know how long I've had to wait? How many would-be heroes I've had to sift through just to find a worthy vessel? Centuries long enough for me to have given up. Long enough for me to cook up lesser measures. But you've arrived, a gift from another world. Revel in my victory. I will change this world, and I've overcome fate to do it. No, it hurts. Stop. Stop struggling. Your body will actually be worth something with me to steer it. Now, I take claim of your flesh, equal payment for equal price. Well, I have been saying that killing off Orisa does sound like it would have been a nice twist and better writing. So if they can't actually kill her off as a person and they're just going to instead make her a new bad guy, that works too. I'm no longer a diseased king who sits atop a throne of prosperity. I'm a true god who possesses omnipotence. It goes black, and then we click next. Next chapters will be available soon. Thanks for playing. So man, they are just hanging that on quite the cliffhanger. To call that a conclusion is inaccurate. Alright, let's try this again. And what we'll try to do is we'll just, I guess the first thing to do would be just to skip all the way and see what that does for us. Does that skip us all the way to the exit? No. Choice? No. Alright. So we'll just click real quick. It's an interesting tease. Will they have the guts to stick to it is the real question. Because if they don't have the guts to stick to it, then it kind of doesn't matter. And it would be really crazy if there are more chapters after this point in the conclusion, but maybe there are. We might want to go back and look at just how many chapters were in previous conclusions. Because they definitely have not explained things well. Like, they definitely have done nothing with Elgano, which they seem to love to do that. They really don't seem to ever... Did I somehow accidentally click on this? See, so it seems like this might be an ending later. That we may actually have to come back and play this. I know what has to be done. He has to be stopped. Excellent choice. In which case, I bid you adieu until next we meet. Come on, Risa, get your arrow ready now. Good. Now, just keep steady. Nobody knows what happens when he dies, but it doesn't matter. Here goes. I won't miss. Come forth. Fire true. And it seems like nothing else happens. Different. So yeah, it really sucks to have a false choice, but it's also a fairly obvious false choice that would have happened there. Alright, so like Gears of Rebellion Uprising. Let's see if we can see, that's 12. Then Invasion of the World Reaver. That's 14, so there might be 2 more chapters that are coming out at some point, and maybe they are just releasing things on a monthly basis. There definitely are problems, certainly with the idea of getting rid of Orisa permanently. That undoes the importance of the Morning Star arc at the beginning, which is fine, but then we kind of have lesser reason to be fighting Nexus. And yeah, this arc is pretty much forgettable at this point. Well, that leaves us in a weird position, because I definitely thought that was completely done. Let's see, what does it say here? They have these little advertisements, but they never get bigger. And we're certainly... Yeah, it says new story, Fate's Trigger, conclusion. You would think that means new story, Fate's Trigger, conclusion was completely done. Which does make it seem like there's going to just be a whole nother episode, which kind of would make sense. The fate in the name does seem to imply Orisa might die completely. Okay, well, I suppose the only thing we could really do here is we could go into a filter here and just click on the rival expansion and take a moment to perhaps highlight the cards that came out of this expansion before wrapping up, which we've already been going nearly 3 hours, so I don't know a good reason to do that, but I think it is worthy of saying, hey, yeah, you get like cards like the Rival and Bandage, and we now know that this is kind of an unimportant character that gets used as a character model multiple times, but there was never a Cactus Cowboy. That's a bit of comedy. If you had Miser dressed up as the Cactus Cowboy at some point, that would have been fairly funny. And then you have like Shinobi Tanuki, that never shows up. Radical Gunslinger doesn't show up. Also, I think it's worth mentioning, hey, this artwork looks really, really different from the main story, and in all fairness, it looks fairly different to this artwork too. It definitely feels like they have like 3 or 4 different artists that they hire to draw different cards. Miser, of course, is a platinum level card, and I'll leave it to you to look up what their answer, what they actually do. You have like a warm fire engineer. That character doesn't show up. We don't see any dragons, even though there is some thematic dragon cards, because of course you've got to have some Dragoncraft cards. Same is true for vampires. Same is true basically for angels and many other characters. Puppets for the Portalcraft player. You would think instead of having puppets and puppet masters, though, you would have characters that were wretches. This is a very commonly played card with this expansion, and it's a person in more Arabic armor on a horse. You don't see a single horse in the entire story, so it really shows a disconnect between the cards they want to make and the ideas they have for the art of those cards. And these are probably conversations that happen a very, very long time before the story is actually written. Either that, yeah, I guess that would be the only thing that makes sense. It would make a lot better sense if you were the director of this game to stop creating any more story for enough time to have an entire episode be ahead. That way you have at least 6 months to hand it to the artist and say, make these cards for this expansion to line up with this storyline expansion. Here you have Knott's henchmen, and they summon a dutiful steed, which a dutiful steed is a horse, and once again, there's just no horses. They also can summon steel-clad knights. So the whole system doesn't really work. Here we have something called the Transcendent Simulacrum, which I am not sure what that is even supposed to be. It seems like it's some kind of robot or monster with no head, some weird head. Let's see. Yeah, I don't know what that's supposed to be at all. And unless we see that in the future story somehow, which I doubt, because every storyline expansion has been like this, where there's just a ton of cards that don't have anything to it. Here we have the Dragonic Council, and this feels like a reference to like Shinra of Dragon Ball Z. I think that's the name of the dragon, or one of the dragons in Dragon Ball Z. Then you have a Skeleton Dreamer, but then we saw absolutely no skeletons at all in the story. Then you have a werewolf, no werewolves. And then a Craps Devil, and a Showdown Demon, a Vengeful Sniper Angel. Really is just a random collection of cards, and I feel like you could have easily just sorted your cards better, or just had better themes in general. But yeah, in all fairness, when there is a new expansion for Hearthstone or Magic the Gathering, there tends not to be a very well connected storyline anyways, and I would say Magic the Gathering in particular is probably the best about having a story associated to it, because they pay people to write stories and entire novels and sell them. But even then, I don't think Magic the Gathering does a great job there, because the average player who's just going to play Magic the Gathering is probably not going to buy the books. Here we have Not Cursed Queen, which we don't even really know what her cursed is, or she's cursed in the sense that she should be cursed. And we have like Faust, a character we don't really recognize from the story, and then Vincent the Peacekeeper. But then you have like Gorgeous or Georgius as a platinum card, and Abysmal Wraith instead of Wretch. Like, no reason why this wouldn't have been better as a Wretch with different art. So if there was a thought pattern here, really, as far as what the story might be, I don't think the card game is really going to tell you. And I'd say Selena is slightly better drawn in the face here, and they have the abyss and the children in the background, so they knew those were elements that were going to be in the story. Although you could have also left that out of the actual story, and then it would have just been some backstory. Finally, we have a Wretch that looks like a Wretch. One card. And then you have like Carnella, Servant of Darkness, which it would be really, really crazy to have even all the named cards show up in the story, because there's too many named characters in the story already. Unless you were just going to have somebody like Carmine, Breaker of Smiles, as a character that shows up and then gets shot very early. And then the backstory, like there is backstory somewhat, if they decide to write it. Maybe you can only see that for cards you own. Yeah, you get these sentences or two of backstory on the cards, so it wouldn't be terrible if somebody like Reinhardt the Deathless showed up and was then immediately shot. And here we have Bunny and Baron Spectre Duo as a platinum card. Yeah, if I hadn't just done the main story, I would be very confused as far as which of these platinum cards actually played a role in the story. But then a lot of these cards definitely don't play a role in any story. Like, they feel like they should be retrofitted back into an older story. Here we have like a gold miner necromancer, who you would have thought would have played a role, but didn't. And then here we have Isis, which, yeah, poor choice of a name, but Isis, I believe the terrorist organization, is named after a Middle Eastern goddess of Isis. So, no surprise there. Take back the name, I suppose. It definitely feels like you could have had a casino scene in the game that was run by demons. And that would explain a lot of these demon casino characters. Here we have Set, another Middle Eastern Egyptian god. And here we have Icy, is Cylindrig. He's doing something different with his magic power than what we ever see. Then you have a pumpkin dragon who's animated completely different and doesn't really play any role at all. What we're not seeing here is Flouise as a card. But it is possible there will be a Flouise card that shows up at some point. If not, that may be more of a hint as far as her importance. She may be a character that shows up later on. Okay, well, that's going to be it for the stream. Like I've said before, they've introduced a battle pass since I started doing the story mode stuff, and I cannot justify buying it and supporting it. Yeah, as I've said before, probably 6 months to a year before I do any more story. I'm definitely going to make sure that all of it is translated to English. I'm not well suited to read out the visual novel dialogue, and I can't feel like I'm doing anything if I just sit around and let Japanese people talk in their Japanese language and then read silently to myself. That feels far too passive as a content creator. So, yeah, I'm going to wait till they translate to English, and I'm going to hopefully wait until they actually finish the whole story, whether or not that is a couple more chapters for episode 11, or whether it is maybe even going back and adding more characters to play as over here, which that really wouldn't make a lot of sense. Anyways, that's going to be it for this recording. As always, I ask you to like, share, subscribe, comment, and watch every second of my videos. If you want a friend or follow me on any social media sites, there's a whole bunch of links down below. And if you want to support me further, there's a link to Patreon, or you can friend me on Steam and gift me a game off my wishlist. Thank you for watching. Have a good evening.